right. Good morning, everyone. All right. This episode, Living with Cancer, How to Beat Cancer and Cancer Support. I have Lindsay McDonell with me, author of Dancing with Cancer and How I Learned to Lead, a guide to become an advocate for personal cancer care. This book is it's really three books in one. It's such a generous give to the world, and everyone should have it. That if you have cancer, a loved one has cancer, or immunity, and you are the support, or even as we look into the world and where we are as a society, it's a three-part in one book. It's three books in one. So, Lindsay, welcome to the show. We start with your story. Again, Dancing with Cancer. First, the title. Why the title, and what was your experience with that?
Okay, so this is a funny thing. We've actually changed the title and launched it again, but it's very close. It's Your Dance with Cancer, Steps to Maximize Your Chance of Surviving. And we changed it because it really was not so much about me. It was about everyone out there that has cancer, even though it's my story. And it's also absolutely my mission to let people know how I did it, how I stayed alive after 9 years, being told many times that I was on my way out by doctors. And a lot of it is very accessible to other people. And it became my mission to put this information out there. And I love what I'm doing.
And so the rewrite of the title is actually really purposeful and accurate, because the book is, again, it has, it's your story starts, and that would have been enough, because it was not only that you realized you had cancer and then went into remission and then went into finding out more and more about it, because that's who you are, your medical background, right? And where that goes. And then you want to coming out of a remission. And then that second piece of that would have been enough. That was enough. But then you went into the gamut of resources from conventional Western medicine all the way to alternative and everything in between for what you're comfortable with. Really deliberate facts. How to live with cancer and your options. And
How
then,
could I do, I'm sorry, how
no,
could I do otherwise? I did all of this work to stay alive. I did all of this research. I did all of this deep, deep work. How could I possibly not share that with others? Because the whole goal of living with cancer, dancing with cancer, which I do want to talk about that title very much, is to be able to live the rest of your life with happiness and no fear about it coming back, which it does come back. But when it does, if it does, then we have tools to not make it so devastating. And the reason, and this is the strongest reason that my book is called Your Dance with Cancer, is I really decided that if I was fighting cancer, which is the vernacular that goes on everywhere, oh, you're fighting a battle. Oh, you're going to win. Oh, she lost her battle to cancer. First of all, that was exhausting to me to think about having to fight all the time. And secondly, dancing left me on an equal basis with cancer. And if I have to dance with cancer the rest of my life, I can do that. It's not exhausting. It's just learning new steps as we go along. And honestly, if somebody said to me at the end of this, you lost your battle with cancer, she lost her battle with cancer, I honestly would come out of the grave and punch him in the stomach. I mean, I really would. They'd have to sleep with their eyes open because I I didn't lose. If I die, I didn't lose. It was just the end. And that's okay. It really is. I'm living a beautiful, beautiful life. And because I have metastatic cancer, which for the most part is very hard to cure, I know that I will be dancing with this cancer my whole life. And that's okay with me. I look at it with curiosity. I look at it with what I can learn, and we move forward or we move around the dance floor.
So let's get to the dance floor. Okay, so and then where you got to go with the book. And again, uh the title of the book. So we're going to keep on leads, but people get to have the book. Your Dance with Cancer.
Yes.
So people are watching this and they're in their emotional spectrum, or a loved one has been diagnosed with cancer. That beginning stage, and that there's still a wide range of emotion. What do you say with them in that inception of it entering the dance floor with you?
What I say to them is take a breath. That's the first thing they can do. Um, there is no doubt when you first have a diagnosis, and there's nothing to do about your original emotions. So you have to live them for a couple of days, a week, whatever, because it's scary. You know, the United States has really uh, has really done a job with making this seem like you're not going to survive this. So really on that dance floor, what you're after you've absorbed your diagnosis, it's to take a breath and to know that there are many, many, many options out there. And that, yes, you have had this diagnosis, but it doesn't really mean that you're going to not survive, that you're not going to be able to handle it, that you won't learn something from it, and that there is a good chance that, people give percentages all the time of, 70% of people don't survive this. There is absolutely no reason that you won't be in the 30% that do, whatever the numbers are. And one of the most important things is to understand that there is a big circle of fear that goes on when you get that diagnosis. And the thing that you're going to have to learn, and that you will learn, is to nourish yourself. I look at it also like a plant. When a plant is affected by a disease, or if it's dying because it hasn't been nourished, giving it the right nourishment is going to help it. It's going to keep growing. Giving it the right medicine is going to keep growing. And the reality of that is, in humans, it's recognizing what nourishes us so that we can gain our power back. And there are things that are not so difficult. It's really just learning a lot about yourself, learning a lot about the disease, and being able to say, okay, I can learn these steps to survive this. I can nourish myself.
Okay, so you had a medical background, and you're obviously a very intelligent, very diligent, very resourceful woman. Someone else is sitting there saying, I woke up today. Now what? Where's the first place they get to go?
Well, the first place they get to go is to, as I said before, breathe, check in with their body. If they're not feeling well, know that it's okay to just stay right where they are. One of the things that happens is people punish themselves or they feel bad about themselves for not doing what they usually do. You know, we are in a society of doing. And the first thing to do is really just to be. Then, as you're being, think to yourself, what can I do today where I feel nourished, where I feel good, whether it is talking to a friend, going for a walk, whatever, everybody has their own things. But it's really about what is going to give me a little bit of power today. Once they have that power, then they can look around and say, okay, do I want more today? Or can I go on with my day? If they need to learn more about their diagnosis, then they go down that path. I highly recommend it. One of the reasons I recommend it is the more knowledgeable you are about the disease, the more your conversations with doctors are going to be on an equal basis. One of the things that does not help is that many people go into their doctor's appointments thinking the doctors have all the answers. They don't. And you're bringing information to the doctor. If you're doing it not from a place of knowledge, they are less likely to have the conversation with you. But if you have done some research and you know the directions that you want to go, in addition to what the doctor is saying, then you have you're going to form a relationship with the doctor where they're not just treating the cancer, they're treating you. And that is huge because that's the relationship that you want. It's also the relationship that you can trust because they are talking to you, they are seeing you. So, those are the main things that I have learned that have helped me with both living a day and dealing with the medical community, and also finding, as you said, other ways to deal with cancer, whether it's alternative, whether it's complementary. The difference being alternative is instead of conventional medicine. Complementary is to help you with the side effects, to help you with feeling better as you are going through any of it. And I've used all of those things to continue this journey. And mind you, I am still full of cancer. Okay, from my head to my toes. The doctors say I am the 0.001% that is actually living at this point in this journey. And it's just a combination and it's of everything. And it's also my attitude, which was I am on an equal footing with both cancer, the doctors, the medicines, and it has helped.
This is what's coming up for me, and it was not in any of the thoughts beforehand. The sense of that your body is failing you and that you are in turn failing those in your life.
Yeah.
How do you wrap yourself around that and for those? And I was not expecting this,
It's
but that's
very
what's coming up for me.
absolutely. And it came up for me. At first, I was a person who could do anything. And so when I got this diagnosis, okay, I can take care of this. Then I had a reoccurrence a year later. I was like, wait a minute, body, wait, we know the drill. You can do anything. How could this possibly happen? And I had to reach much deeper. than I had been living, apparently, and say, "Who are you, Lindsay?" And then I realized that I was grateful to my body for doing this with me, for keeping me alive at this moment. And I started to really honor my body, which is part of the nourishing that we talked about. That, and then with family, you go through that all the time. They think that you're going to survive this, be positive, etc. And a lot of it is talking to your family and explaining to them how you feel and what is the support that you need. I have a great example. My best friend, I was having a terrible day. I was sad and I was hopeless. And this is in the beginning. And I called her and I'm like, "I'm so sad today. I'm not feeling well." And she said, "Can we just wait to see what the doctor says? No worries." I was like, "No, could you just do it my way?" She said, "No." I said, "Why not? I just want you to be sad with me." And she said, "I don't think that's helpful." And I said, "Okay, but can we do my plan A first? Just be sad with me. Just be there with me. And if that doesn't work, we'll see what the doctor says." She never again used her own way of thinking, like, "Oh, I think she should do this. I think she should do that," to lead the conversation. Instead, what she did was, "How are you today?" That changes the way you relate, the way your family relates to you. Because again, they can see you as a person and they're not seeing the disease. In the beginning, everybody rushes in with, "Well, I heard this, well, I heard that, and you should do this, and you should do that." And the reality is, we all need time to find it in ourselves and to really understand what we're dealing with. And honestly, the people out there that are telling you this are not you. And you is what's most important. And you can't fail being your authentic self and being grateful for your body and being grateful that even though this disease can be rough, you will come out of it a stronger and deeper person as you go through it and as you live it. And eventually, if you pass, it will be as a different person, and it's a much more grateful, deep, understanding soul.
Okay, so and there's this actually really gets to be a two-part because I'd love to go into also the second about preparing, not preparing but dancing. Right, the dance continues, and it also continues for the ending steps. I love the analogy. I love the analogy dancing your dance with cancer. When it comes to sport, when it comes
Sport.
to a place to say, all right, I get to make this about me, which is often so
So
difficult
hard.
for women.
So hard.
And then even they're as they stand, they get to find their power. And within that, where would you say someone gets to go? What does that look like if they're not strong enough to be strong enough for their family?
So there's a couple of different places. There is the community, and for community, I mean support groups, etc. There's also for people who are very spiritual. It may be with their spiritual community. There are concrete nurse navigators at the hospitals, which will help you identify places where you may get support. They know the resources in your area. There are websites, Facebook pages. Facebook pages I find to be great. I have one myself called Your Dance with Cancer, because they're looking for what other people are doing, and knowing that there are other people that are going through the same thing and how they are trying to solve it can be incredibly power enhancing. Many of them will let you PM them so you can have a discussion. That's private message, PM. So that's where a good portion of it is. If you have a therapist that you really feel comfortable with, that is a great place to go. If you have a best friend that will actually listen to you and understand how you need support and be on your team. I do a lot of conversation in the book about who are your team members. There's ones that they want to be on your team because they want to bring you food every week, and that's wonderful. Whatever, you need to find the one on the team that's going to be your emotional support. And you may have a different one for having to do research. It's people that you can connect with if you don't have the strength to do it on your own, that end up being the support. But it really encompasses everything: community, spiritual, medical, friends. That is what you do.
And let's flip this around, that so someone who is part of the team, someone significant other is now they're saying, okay, what do I do? What I'm hearing is listening, but now that person, they're what where do I eat? Where do I begin? What do I do for this person I love?
So the biggest thing that they can do is just be there without suggestions about not eating sugar or anecdotal evidence that they've heard of, but to just be there and say, what can I do for you? And it may be nothing. It may just be being present. Or it may be, could you get me a milkshake? Who knows what it's going to be? But it's letting the patient be the head of that train, because when you have that, you don't feel alone. When people are there honestly to just be with you and support you in what you need, that's what feels good. And it doesn't feel overwhelming. And many of the times people are like, well, what can I do? What can I do? Can I send her flowers? Can I send her socks? Whatever it might be. And unfortunately, two things happen. So I am a person that doesn't like dinner particularly. And one of my friends decided to make me dinner at least twice a week. So she would make me dinner. She would leave. And then I was like, okay, I don't really want to eat the dinner. Now I have this platter that she has purchased and brought to me, and it belongs to her. So now I have to somehow get rid of the dinner. I have to wash the platter. I have to get it back to her. It became such a big thing for me to do, when really, if she had asked me, I would have said, well, there's two things. Bring me lunch because I'd love to eat it with you. And also just be here. You eat before you come. because that's what I like to do, but I love to have conversations with you. And so it's really, I can't say this enough. It's about understanding what the person who has cancer needs by asking them and letting them know that you understand that this is hard and that you love them and you want to do something, and they're going to let you, the patient, lead that.
The piece I want to and we're going to go a little long today. The piece is that, so you please get the book. You get to have this as such a tremendous resource. It is just incredible to have on the bookshelf ready for whoever.
Yes.
The When you went to your retreat, and you can get into that a little bit, and you the piece with dancing, your dance with cancer, you actually got to face death
Yes, I did.
and embrace that.
Yes,
Ooh, can you lean into that a little bit? Can you,
absolutely.
the fear, how do you take fear out of death?
This was a very interesting part of this retreat. It was actually my favorite part of this retreat because most of us are scared of death. So what we talked about was a couple of things. And the man that was leading this, he started with, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but if there's a light, go towards the light. And a friend of mine that was in that said, do you think that's what they tell the deer? Which was just very, very funny to me. So there was a lightness to this. But really, what we did was we designed what we would want our death to look like. Who would be there? Where would it be? Would there be music playing? Would you want somebody to read a poem? Would you want your hands held? Would you want people to just stand there with photographs and memories of you? But the big piece in this was having control over it. Imagining how it would be. The sense of it was, now I know. And that's the twist. We went from unknowing to knowing. And when you know something, it gives you peace and it gives you power. And it was one of the best nights of talking that we had because it wasn't unknown anymore. I was very at peace with what I came up with, especially who I didn't want there. Very interesting. This is the thing, you have to have a bit of a sense of humor if you're going through this disease.
You have to have a sense of humor in
You
life.
got to have a sense of humor. Does
And
that make sense to you?
it makes a lot of sense. And the piece that I'm taking from this is that you get to stand in your power. You get to very much be, you don't get to be alone. This is also not a solo journey. So death is not a solo journey.
No.
That's profound.
And you
And
have a choice. I mean, you may want to be there by yourself, but either way, it's where you find peace. however it is that you find peace, that you'll let go in the way that, when we come into the world, it's very joyous. When we leave with our own power, knowing that that it is what we needed, there is also comfort in that. And that is huge.
You make it your journey to the end.
It's yours.
Okay,
And I'm
Lindsay.
okay that I'm on it.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here with you today.
Thank you.
you. Okay, Lindsay McDonell, Your Dance with Cancer. All the links will be below. Get to the Facebook group, get the book, and just thank you. And let's do this again. And we're going to get off camera because I want to connect. Again, Your Dance with Cancer, Lindsay McDonell. Incredible. Incredible, my friend. Bravo.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me be here.